Chris. So my name's Simon Hobson. I wanted to have a chat about your time as Commissioner on the Independent Commission on the Constitutional Future of Wales. It was quite a mouthful, the title of that.
It is.
So that commission followed on from many others like the Richard Silk, and it was a St David's Day agreement as well. And you know, there are lots of really great things that were concluded in all of those commissions and those reports. They occasionally get referenced in various parties' manifestos, but are largely ignored by politicians in the Senate and particularly in Westminster. And I guess as a taxpayer, one can ask, well, you know, this is millions of taxpayers' monies going on these commissions. If they're then just going to be ignored, what's the point in them?
And I think that's a fair question. I would say that they are mostly ignored in Westminster by some parties in the Senate for sure, but not all. But certainly in Westminster, I think it's fair to say that these commissions haven't led to significant constitutional change, which is frustrating. Certainly, as somebody who sat on one of those commissions and contributed to its work, and I think it is disappointing, actually, that the recommendations of the commission I sat on, but also the others before it, haven't been taken more seriously. Does that mean that we shouldn't have them? No, that's not my view. I think the job of these commissions actually is really important. It's to think about big constitutional questions, which are complex. The job is to gather evidence and to consider that evidence robustly and systematically and objectively, and to make recommendations based on that evidence. And I think that's important because we in Wales have to think about these questions about how Wales is run, how we're governed, how we might like to do things differently or better. And it's important that we think about these things ourselves and not just allow others to take decisions on our part that are not necessarily ones that are the best for Wales. So whilst I accept that they've had little impact, I think it's important nevertheless that we have that conversation ourselves, and that actually through this work that we almost model how we think that these kinds of constitutional debates should happen. That is, they should happen in a way which is grounded in evidence, which does take into account as many different perspectives as possible, and that we make kind of informed recommendations on that basis. I think it's a good way to think about constitutional change. And certainly in the commission that I was a member of, we very much tried to use the process of our work to actually demonstrate how you could have a constitutional conversation differently, not just in Wales, but also in other parts of the UK as well. Because actually I think that constitutional conversation isn't happening in the UK at that level. It needs to, it should. And so through our work, we were trying to show actually this is what you could do if you were to take this seriously and to do it in the kind of way that we try to approach our work. It doesn't have to be a divisive, polarizing conversation. Actually, you can have a respectful debate, which is evidence-based and robust. And so I think there is value in doing that, even though it's frustrating actually, that they don't lead to anywhere. If only they did, I think we'd have a better constitutional setup within the UK, and certainly one better suited to Wales. Interestingly,
have you come up with any answers to your own question there, and how do you create that landscape? It's, you know, New Wales is trying to do that.
Yeah,
trying to engage with different people. We're open to talk to anybody. So if anyone wants to reach out to us, we're happy to have the conversations, hear their views, me chat to them for the podcast. But have you found a way of doing that? Because politics is increasingly polarized.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not easy. And I think one of the things that we found as a commission when we were trying to talk to people about how Wales should be governed, one of the things that we came to realise was that actually phrasing some of these questions in constitutional terms isn't necessarily helpful, because for most people are not interested in big constitutional questions. They're actually far more preoccupied with thinking about kind of policy challenges that they face in their daily lives. So can you get a doctor's appointment, or those kind of real daily challenges. So the way we approached the question of constitutional change was actually through these more bread and butter policy issues, and using those as a way into thinking about then, well, if you were to do this differently, say in the policy of area of health, for example, how would you do it differently? What would that mean for, Welsh government having more or less powers or more or less money to do this or that? So I think one way is to think about constitutional questions by almost not asking directly constitutional questions, but getting to the constitutional questions through the issues that really matter to people. And then to do that, I think, again, our experience was that if you can create spaces where people feel supported to understand the issues, have the information that they need to make a decision or informed viewpoint, then actually in that way, you can have the conversations where people are able to understand and interested in understanding other perspectives, creating spaces where you bring together people who wouldn't necessarily meet each other in their daily lives, perhaps because they don't mix in the same circles, they're not interested in the same things. But when you can create those kinds of spaces, there is value there in bringing people together, exploring issues. And if we could do more of that, then actually through talking about kind of concrete policy issues, you can get to constitutional dimensions of these issues.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more conversations with people who want to build the future of Wales. And do go and find, like and enjoy new.wales across all your favourite social media channels.